Yo guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another episode of the FM Reboot. It's episode number 63 and it's the series finale as we take one last look at this save on the back of, well, another sour ending to a season that was good after winning our first trophy, the Premier League. So yeah, in our last episode of this series, you'll be taking a look under the hood of what goes on behind the scenes of the save, closer detailed look at the club, what's going on around in world football, and also going to show you some of the major teams in Europe as well and how they're now lined up to. Yeah, let's just get straight to it. So, as always, we start off with yours truly, as we can see here. What's that star for there? What's that for? I haven't noticed that before. Can't click on it. Hovering over it, nothing showing up. Never seen that before. Is that like Major Honours 1? That's kind of cool, if it is, I don't know. But yeah, so we start off with a look at myself. You can see my characteristics here are mostly very good indeed. The attributes now look like this. As we said at the start of the series, this is one of the very few saves where I'll start off with the Continental Pro License, which is the highest qualification you can gain. Ordinarily, I'll do all the coaching courses as we're going through the save, but this time I started off with the coaching qualification in the back. You see our career statistics down in the bottom right there. My win percentage ended up as a 58%. That's really impressive, to be honest. And also, I have no best opinion relationships, but I have one in the worst opinion, and it's Ronald Koeman. And I know why this is. He's still at Barcelona, and he's complained at times that I haven't given Trincao enough game time, but very interesting indeed. Not a single person values me, and only one person doesn't like me. It's Koeman. My contract has 4 years remaining on it as well. It's 145 grand a week. It was, of course, signed midway through the season. And yeah, wise investment from Wolves, you'd say, on the back of us winning the title this year. So moving on, I'm going to show you my Backroom Starfield with Wolves. As I always say, this is just too important to neglect in FM. You might notice I've still got a free coaching spot available. Whenever I'm maxed out all across the board, I like to keep a slot available just in case like a club legend becomes a coach, and you can just hire one knowing that you've got the best coaching staff in the division, and just hire one. Not as a novelty, if you will, but it's just quite nice, isn't it? But these are our best coaches for goalkeeping. We've got 3 goalkeeping coaches for attacking, closer Dennis Bergkamp, defending Colo Torres there. We've got 5 fitness coaches, sorry. We also got a couple of mentally strong coaches, me and Closer, technique coaches, tactical coaches, man management and youth knowledge. Working with youngsters coaches as well. Mentioned before, my biggest tip for coaching is to look for specialists in certain areas as opposed to having a balanced group of coaches that can sort of be a jack of all trades but master of none, if you will. This is our scouting team. Admittedly, in this save, I haven't really focused too much on improving our scouts, so this could have been better, to be honest. And we've got the best physiotherapy team in the division as well. As for the players themselves, well, this is the team we leave with Wolves. And I've got to say, it was a fantastic side we assembled. I still can't get over the fact that we only won 1 trophy in 5 years. I mean, that's awful. 4 straight final losses. I've never had a team as unfortunate as this Wolves team. No doubt about it. Just it's so unlucky. And we really should have won at least 1 or 2 other trophies. That FA Cup final loss to Brentford was, of course, the biggest missed opportunity. And that Europa League final to Sociedad last year, we should have won that. Instead, lost it on penalties for what was the 3rd successive final in a row. It's a great team, though. It's absolutely brilliant. As you can see, we kind of stuck to the Portuguese theme a little bit, bringing back Jota, Trincao coming in on loan, but for the most part I tried to reshape the club identity, bring through a few more English and British players in the case of McTominay. We did that with the likes of, again, Bettinelli on a free, Williams, Ward-Prowse, Henderson, Aarons as well. But for the most part, it's a decent team. It's a nice mix of youngsters and some wonder kids, such as Johan, as we know, and Kate are the best 2, the Belgians. Miguel is still regarded as a wonder kid, although he kind of just got like sort of banished to the shadow realm, really, for no reason whatsoever. We couldn't play him after Johan came in. Viscardi as well. Silva, of course, and Nuri both developed into great players as well. But some experienced players too. Semedo's still here. Bai's now 31. JWP has now hit 30. Our time flies. And Jimenez, of course, now is our biggest vet at 34. And when you look at the dynamics of the team as well, we maintain like a really great level of managerial support, team cohesion and club atmosphere all throughout the course of the series. Despite losing club captain Connor Cody, big man Willy Bolly, Ruben Neves, the talisman, we still maintained a great level of managerial support, and I think that was key to our progression over the course of the save. The dynamics in the hierarchy looks like this. Jimenez, Forsby and Big Chris are our team leaders, and the social groups we end with most in the core and a few in the secondary. As for the youngsters with Wolves, well, you would have seen the Wonder Kids that we've got, the certified Wonder Kids, have all played roles in our first team this season and last. But we still have a couple of players in the under-23s to look alright, most of which are out on loan. Fatai, I was quite optimistic about Fatai. I mean, he didn't get enough game time to really develop, to be fair, so I guess that's my fault there. But, there are a couple in the under-23s. The ones that are out on loan are the most exciting. Eduardo Ferreira, we loaned him out to Watford this year and did well to hold down a first-team spot for what were the relegated Hornets. You got, where is he? Marquesano. I quite like this young winger who's been loaned out for a second straight year in the Championship. There's a couple others as well. Gutierrez, the Mexican as well, looks pretty decent. So there are a couple of decent young players here that are in a development centre, but most of which just got put straight in our first team and played roles. Again, the likes of Johan in particular, and also of course Keita as well. These are, I hate these red arrows so much. These are certified Wonder Kids, and it's a shame that we'll never get to develop them fully, because Keita was going to turn into an absolute monster for the middle. He's 19 years old with these stats and only getting better as well. And same can be said for Johan too, despite the fracture of the skull. 19 years old and already just an absolute monster and consistently brilliant in his first season. So as we go behind the scenes with the club, as you can see, the club vision, I never managed to get rid of the signed Portuguese player vision from the board, which is annoying because that's what I kind of wanted to do as the seasons went by. I was hoping that the board would come to me and say, do you know what, do you think it would be a good idea if we stop doing this? And I'll be like, yes, it is a good idea we stop doing this, because it's a phase, let it go. The Portuguese phase is gone now, alright? But I didn't really pay as much attention to this as I possibly could have done. But in terms of our competitions and the way we performed over the years, I've said it every single season, but every single season we did well. It's just that we ended on a sour note, so it felt like it was quite bad. I mean, we got a B+ this year. We got to the Europa League final for the second straight year and won the fucking Premier League. How is that only a B+? Do you know what I mean? But as for the club info as well, you can see, as you would have seen, I should say, with the facilities, Molyneux's expansion was completed during the season. We're up to just under 42,000 seaters now, which is ideal for European football. We've got the state-of-the-art training facilities. We re-increased those during, was it last season or this season? And the excellent youth facilities as well. If I was to carry on, that's what I'd look to improve next, to get these to state of the art and try and get some better players coming through the youth setup here of Wolves, because as I always say, it's one of the things which I just never seem to get luck with in my FM says. I can buy good Wonder Kids that are 18 years old or younger and develop them into stars, but actually getting ones naturally through the academy. Clinton Webster from our Millwall save, Sam Redmond from our Swansea save. They're the only two noteworthy ones I've had in all the years playing FM on YouTube. And I suppose if you want, there was a Kua in my Norwich side that became our fourth choice centre-half. But really, he didn't play that much of a noteworthy part in our success. But as for the finances with Wolves, we did really well. Like, I talked about how badly we needed European football. In the first season, we went straight into the red because, again, the wage expenditure was just too high for a club of Wolves' stature. And whilst it did rise over the years, as it always does in an RTG, it was okay because once we got European football back, I mentioned it before, playing in Europe and particularly in the Champions League, as we found out in Season 3. Look at the increase in our budget because of our Season 3 Champions League adventure going all the way to the semis, because the prize money is really high, as is the TV revenue, and that's why, again, European football is so crucial. Get it as quickly as you can in an RTG. Otherwise, if you start splashing the cash and putting players on high salaries, you're going to be in the red very quickly indeed. But yeah, 116 in the balance, 134 for the new season if we were to continue, but we've left Wolves in a very healthy position. So we're going to look at some major European competitions and also some major European teams next. And what we will do is we'll start off with the Premier League. Of course, this year we ended Manchester United's three-peat by winning the Premier League title on the final day with that draw at home to Leicester. You know, when I saw that Zaniolo scored that late goal at Watford, I'm not going to lie, like, I was just too nervous to press the spacebar again and continue the game, because with all the late goals we conceded, I could just see it happening. But yeah, Premier League winners this year, fantastic. Our season really built on defence, of course, we know. Only 21 goals conceded in 38. The importance of Johan, and particularly Unai, who of course won the Golden Glove this year with 22, cannot be understated. It was defence. What's that saying? You know, I love it. You know, goals win games, but defence wins championships. So yeah, that was the Premier League this year. It actually overtook La Liga as the most reputable competition in European football. Was it last season or this season? It was last season. But La Liga this year, for the first time in the save, was won by Barcelona, finishing 1 point clear of Atletico Madrid. Juventus' dominance in the Serie A continues. They lost in the first season to save their title to Napoli, but since then, 4 straight, and the old lady are back on the throne in Italy. Bundesliga was won by Borussia Dortmund this year, back-to-back. Bayern Munich's dominance looks as though it might be over, it seems. Dortmund back-to-back winners there. We don't have any of the other leagues loaded, unfortunately, so all I can do is show you the brief look at the past winners and the runners-up and the third place in the other. So Ligue 1, PSG's dominance continues there in France. Porto, back-to-back winners in the Portuguese Premier League. Benfica, 5-time runners-up. Lads, if anyone knows your pain, it's me. I won't do all of these, but the Dutch League, Ajax have now won it 5 times in a row. Some of these leagues haven't finished either, but you'll see the past winners of the last year. So last year, CSKA Moscow won the Russian Premier League. Anderlecht won the Belgian Pro League this year. This is last year again. Shakhtar Donetsk last season, champions in Ukraine. Rangers, 3 times winners in the Scottish Premier League. It's always Rangers or Celtic, as you know. Galatasaray and Fenerbahce's three-peat there, winning it. Oh no, that was last season as well. I think it's because it's the 1st of June on the Sunday. I think if I played like one more day, it might complete a few more leagues. I'm not entirely sure, but you see the competition reputation here. I'll do a few more. The Group Super League this year was won by Olympiacos for, the 6th straight season. Following on from that, you've got the Danish Super League, last year won by Copenhagen. St. Gallen! Do you remember that? Last season won the Swiss Super League, as we remember very well. RB Salzburg, again, this is last season again, won the Austrian Premier League. I forgot to do the lower leagues in the English pyramid as well. Well, Brentford returned to the Premier League, winning the championship again. They are so dominant in the second tier in this state. They're going with Blackburn Rovers returning to the Premier League after all the years, and Huddersfield Town as well. We'll do League 1 and League 2 as well. Ipswich won that playoff final there, and hey, that's nice to end on. Millwall going up alongside Nottingham Forest, who were champions. And as for League 2, Cambridge, please Ches, won the playoff final there. Leyton Orient and Burton going up through the playoffs as well. Promoted as well, and Wrexham champions there. So in terms of the major clubs in Europe as well, I wonder if we'll be on the list. We are indeed! We've snuck on there! Just above AC Milan. Our reputation had improved, of course, over the years. And just one of the reasons why I love FM, because it's interchangeable. You can see here we've got the green arrow showing that we've overtaken a couple of teams in Milan and Lazio, and possibly a couple others as well. But yeah, as the save progresses and when you do an RTG, I mentioned before, your team will progress in reputation, making you more profitable in the worldwide financial market, in terms of your commercial revenue, and also again making you more appealing to other players that might want to come and play for you. We're not a continental side anymore, we're a worldwide side. The depth to FM really is fantastic, and financially as well. Is there a financial one? Where's that? Oh, there we are, financially as well. RB Leipzig, Villarreal, there's a lot of teams that are tied here for first in terms of maxed out in terms of their finances. I wonder where we are here. Because I don't see us. At all. It's so strange how, for example, like Real Madrid, Real Madrid, for example, financially appear to have less money. I've lost them. They were here a moment ago, but they appear, there we are. They appear to have less money than someone like Swansea City, for example. It's quite strange, but we are down here somewhere. I did see us. There we are, 70th with the secure financial status in worldwide finances. I think part of the reason why is because, again, we're not the biggest of clubs, and also again our stadium's only just completed the expansion. We were playing at like a 30,000 seater stadium for the first 4 years, and that's not really enough really. But as for the best player in Europe award, Haaland won it this season, second in the past 3 seasons for PSG. The European Golden Boy was won by that wonder kid at Liverpool. In a way, I'm kind of glad the save does stop here, because this guy would have torn us apart every single season. Looks incredible. Bellingham won it the year before, then Camavinga, Pedri, and also Vinicius, of course, as we know. And as for the European Golden Shoe, Mbappe won it this year. Jimenez won it the year before. Forgot about that. So I'm going to show you some of the major clubs' teams, just to show you what they're currently looking like right now, 5 seasons into the same. We'll begin with the Premier League, and we'll begin with the runners-up this year, Arsenal. Arteta is still in charge there, for those curious, interestingly enough. And for their team, it looks like this. They've retained quite a few players. They've got still a couple of their youngsters there, including Martinelli. Bukayo Saka is still there. Kieran Tierney is still there as well. Zaniolo, of course, has joined. Smith Rowe is still there. Eddie Nketiah. Is it just me, guys? Or does Eddie Nketiah, in like every single FM save you do, turns into a monster? Is it just me? But Nketiah turns into a goal machine after a few years. He's unstoppable. Liverpool still have Jurgen Klopp in charge, and just like the Gunners have retained a lot of their core squad. Alisson's still in goal, Van Dijk is still there, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho is still there, Keita is still there, they've got that wonder kid as we know, Firmino, Mane and Salah are all there as well. Of course they're now in their 30s, but that is Liverpool's side. Oh, where's Robertson going? Where's Robertson off to? Juventus. For 2.7 million. I feel like I've missed something there. He must have wanted to leave because he had his contract expiring come the end of the year. I bet he handed a transfer request and Liverpool had to let him go on the cheap, otherwise losing for free. That's interesting. Why didn't I look into that? Manchester City got rid of Guardiola during that season when they had that. Do you remember that? If I hadn't shown this, or if you joined the save late, it wasn't last season, the season before I think it was, when Man City, maybe it wasn't, that was the second season, the third season. There we are. Man City finished 10th. But if you look at the first half of the... can I not do the first half of the season when you go a few years back? Oh, no way. Well, anyway, in the first half of the season... Is there a way to do pass positions in this season? There's not. Okay, that's a shame. Well, anyway, during that season, Man City, they were like here until like match day 31. It was bizarre, absolutely bizarre. But they've sorted themselves out since then, as we know, much stronger than before this year, finishing in 4th place. Simeone is now in charge at the Etihad Stadium, and this is their team. Absolute class. We know Pedri's been brilliant since coming in. There's a couple of players here which are still there from before. Ferran Torres, Gabriel Jesus, Phil Foden is still there and always develops into an incredible midfielder as the years go by. Solskjaer still in charge of the Red Devils. I often find this as well. The major European sides often will stick with their managers throughout the course of the save. It's the mid-table teams that normally like to do the manager merry-go-round. But Red Devils still have De Gea in goal. That's why we got Henderson on the cheap. Funny enough, the Red Devils want Unai to replace De Gea. I was like, lads, you already had Henderson. Why did you give him to us on the cheap? But still a really good side. Frankie de Jong's now there. Paul Pogba is still there. Bruno Fernandes is still there as well. Ronaldo might not return, but this is still a great team. 3 straight championships for Manchester United. Why this season they struggled so much, I'm not entirely sure. And we'll do the traditional top 6 here. Chelsea have actually just parted ways with their manager. I think that was Inzaghi, wasn't it? Who was in charge there. But this is Chelsea's team. They've got You Live By, You Die By Andre Onana between the sticks. They've still got quite a few of the good youngsters, including Reece James, who stays right wing back for them. Tomori hasn't moved on. Mason Mount is still there. And N'Golo Kante, how old is he now? Is still there as well. Still as good as ever at 34 years old. Ali moved on, interestingly enough, a couple of years ago after going via Lyon. Well, that was a really interesting transfer indeed. Verne is still there as well. And Chelsea got a good team in this save as well. And as we know, Spurs, like, if there's going to be a team that breaks away from the traditional Big Six, if you will, I always say traditional Big Six because I know it's now starting to change a little bit, but if there is a team that breaks away from the Big Six, it's normally Spurs who fall off first. I don't know why, but Zidane, as we know, is now in charge there in North London. Took a 3-year hiatus after losing Real Madrid, and now he's gone to North London. Very interesting indeed. But Kane is still there in the game. Harry Kane is still there, still banging him in, and even at the age of 31. Well, I say banging him in, 1826. Really? That's a drop-off. That's a big drop-off from Harry Kane. Goodness. I don't know what's going on there, but fair enough. But still, it's a decent side. Again, it's still got some class players. Haven't done quite as well in the save, but it's still a good team. Unfortunately, I can't spend all of the episode going through every team, so I'll just do the biggest of teams here as we look at their sides. We'll start with the big 3 in Spain, which of course will be Barcelona, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. As you know, Koeman is still in charge of Barcelona and still does not like me. Messi is still there. He's not gone to Paris in the game. I wonder how long he'll stay though. He'll turn 38 at the end of this month here. Will he look to retire next season? Well, as you can see here with Barcelona, he might still be captain, but his minutes have been greatly reduced. Most appearances this season came off the bench. His productivity, whilst his rating is still great, his productivity is nowhere near the same it used to be. Do you remember that season when he scored 50 league goals? Absolutely ridiculous. But Barcelona's team still really great. They got Ter Stegen, who's still there. Wan-Bissaka's moved there, interestingly enough, and João Felix moved on from Atletico Madrid via Liverpool in this save. I remember it was at Liverpool, wasn't he, for a bit. Ansu Fati is still there as well. Only 22 years old now, so yeah, still a fantastic side. Real Madrid won the title the past 2 years, not this time. Carlo Ancelotti is there, which is quite a nice fit, isn't it? Ancelotti is there, very realistic indeed. And very good side. Courtois is still there between the sticks. Luka Jovic has not moved on. He's still there at Real Madrid. Not a bad side at all. Just looking at the world-class talent. Not a bad side. Not a bad side, is it? But for Atletico Madrid, though, of course, Simeone's gone, but Guardiola is now in charge of Atletico after going to Porto for a year. Fascinating, isn't it? Guardiola now back in Spain, but Atletico Madrid, they'll run us up this year. Jan Oblak is still between the sticks for Atletico Madrid. Koke is still there, interestingly enough, now 33 years old. João Pedro and Richard Leeson are their inside forwards in this team. That's quite interesting indeed. And, Boadu, absolutely unreal striker in this year's FM and in FIFA CM as well. Hits the ball with either foot, absolutely rapid and normally quite clinical as well. As for the Serie A, we'll show you Juventus team first. Is Ronaldo gone? Did Ronaldo retire last season? No, he didn't. No, he didn't, did he? Fascinating. He retired at the end of last season. I would have just missed that when I did my special in-depth look at the save at the end of last season. I don't know how I missed that, but I did. He just retired last season after 6 years at Juve. Fascinating. Do I give him a coaching job? That's the real question. Long way to go, but hey. So Ronaldo's retired, but this is Juve's side. Very decent indeed. Alexander Isak is currently leading their line. He normally does so well in FM. Great young striker. So yeah, decent team. Inter's team looks like this. Conte is still in charge there. Interestingly enough, hasn't moved on at all. But Lukaku hasn't gone back to Chelsea. He's still there at Inter Milan, now 32 years old, but still absolutely brilliant physically. As we know, this guy is just unstoppable. We've also got Esposito from my club and country say as well. That's kind of cool that he's still there in the game. Hasn't really done too much though so far. Their rivals Milan did not have a great season this year, but AC Milan are always a really interesting team to look out for in FM. This is their current team in the game. Rafael Leao is still there as their inside forward on the left-hand side. Oxlade-Chamberlain and Ross Barkley are currently at AC Milan. That's not that unrealistic. I was just thinking about it. That's not even that unrealistic, is it, to think about, to be fair? He's actually loaned out, not loaned in at Milan. But anyway, Napoli, Gattuso there, and this is their current side, including Jude Bellingham is now at the Stadio San Paolo. That's interesting indeed. 21 years old, moved on from Dortmund, and he's playing left wing for Napoli at the moment. Interesting. And I'll end on Lazio because they have Jose Mourinho in charge. You know what? I'm thinking about it, I'll do Roma as well. Mourinho went from Spurs to manage France for a year. Interesting little stint there. And now he's been at Lazio for the past couple of years. But this is Lazio's team. Ciro Immobile is still there and banging him in as consistent as he does. No surprises there. So that's Lazio's team. They find Roma initially, and that's why they finished in 12th place this season. And Roma's team currently looks like this. They've got some decent players. Lorenzo Pellegrini is still there, and he's turned out to be a fantastic midfielder in the game at 28. But they could do with some improvement, Roma. It's a very good team, but it could still be improved on. I'm just going to do 4 in Germany, if you don't mind. We'll start with the champions, Borussia Dortmund, and this is their current team, where Jadon Sancho has not left in the game. As you know, Haaland went to PSG, but as for Jadon Sancho, he remains as a Dortmund player for now. There is major interest, as there's always going to be with Jadon Sancho in the save until he does leave Dortmund, but he's still there for now. As for Bayern Munich's side, well, their dominance might well be over, or so it seems, but they still have a really, really good team. Leon Goretzka is still there and looks absolutely fantastic, particularly mentally. Deo Upamecano is there as well. He's developed into a fantastic centre-half in this save, as he does in practically every save. Manuel Neuer's leaving. He's going to Hertha Berlin. Fascinating. He's going for free at the end of his contract. That's really interesting. And I want to show you Leipzig and also Hertha Berlin. You saw Bayer Leverkusen's team in the Europa League final, but Leipzig are currently 5th in the Bundesliga, haven't done quite as well in the save. They've of course lost quite a lot of their young talent they always pick up, and they're still looking to prefer the young talent, it seems, in the game and develop them and then sell them on for a profit. So yeah, it's a decent team, but they're sort of still looking again to prioritise the youngest of players. And the reason I want to show you Hertha Berlin is because I don't know whether you guys find the same as me in both FM and FIFA CM, but Hertha Berlin just seem to have like an abundance of wealth. they spend a lot of it and they just develop into like a major player in the transfer market every single year. It seems like all of your star players have interest from Hertha. Whether they moved or not is a different story. But yeah, Hertha's team at the moment currently looks like this. Matheus Cunha is still there and is currently their best player. With those stats, I'm not surprised. Very, very decent team. I'm just going to show you Paris Saint-Germain's team in France as well and how that's currently looking. Pochettino is still there with PSG. And as we know, Mbappe and Neymar... Actually, no, Neymar... Oh, no, there's Neymar. Neymar's on the transfer list, though, requested, interestingly enough. Nabil Fekir, where's he going on to? Lazio. Interesting, but Martinez is there. Mbappe is there. Haaland is there as well, as we know, with Neymar. Kai Havertz playing in behind. Dembele's there. I mean, these guys score like 10 goals a game, man. It's just an incredible team, especially on the offensive end. So I'm briefly going to show you what's been going on in international football. Is there a way to do like the... can I just go the world, the Golden Ball? The Golden Ball won by Nicola Barella this year, interestingly enough. What I want to do is do the... yeah, this is great. Well, I don't know why I'm just... Yeah, okay. I want to show the... oh, here we are, the major nations. There we go. So as we know, Denmark won the World Cup in 2022 in the save. But as for the major nations, Brazil are currently regarded as the top nation in world football right now, followed by France, England, Holland, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Argentina, Senegal in the top 10, interestingly enough, alongside Belgium, then Morocco, Mexico, Denmark, Nigeria, USA, Australia, Colombia, Uruguay, Ivory Coast, and Venezuela. The world rankings in FIFA, some people pay close attention to them, some people don't pay any attention at all, but that's how it's looking at the moment. As we know, 2022 World Cup won by Denmark, beating Holland as the runners-up in Qatar. And as for the European Championship, well, as we know, just a really interesting look at the international football in this save, because we know Serbia won it the past time, and then Croatia the past before. So Croatia and Serbia, the last two European champions, and Denmark, the last World Cup winners. I mentioned before, these nations have got really good young talent, but it's still really interesting. No major European country won in any of those three tournaments. I'm going to do the Copa America very briefly for you as well. Venezuela won it the last time out, followed by Argentina in the save. African Cup of Nations was won by Morocco this year, and actually the year before as well, so they've won it the past two times in the save. Egypt the other time in this save. And I also want to do the major European competitions in club football as well. So I forgot to show you this, but the Champions League, when I can... Oh, it's not Champions League in the game, it's Champions Cup, sorry. Keep forgetting just the licensing. But the cat's out of the bag. It's really called the Champions League, guys. You didn't know that. But the Champions League, as we know, won by Arsenal this year, getting their revenge on Barcelona all those years ago. Where are we? There we are, back in 2006. Arsenal won it this year. And I talked about this before, like the English teams in this save have done so well in the European competitions. 4 of the last 5 Champions League, and if you want to get technical, 6 of the last 7 won by an English side. And that trend continued in the other European competitions. For example, in the Euro Cup, well, Wolves were back-to-back runners-up. Still hurts, man, still hurts. But the 2 years before that, it was Spurs and Chelsea, as we remember. And in the Europa Conference League, if you remember that as well, we saw this year, is it Euro Conference League or Europa Conference League? Or is it, oh no, it's Euro Cup 2 in the game. It's Euro Cup, no, not Euro Cup 11, Euro Cup 2. There we go. Southampton won it this year, and of course the first inaugural cup competition of the save was won by Leeds United. So 2 of the first 4, and Leeds were runners up last year, were won by an English team. It's so interesting how they do so well in Europe. Less said about Wolves, the better. You know what, I think we're basically done now. I can't think of anything else I wanted to show you in the one last look at the save. I really wanted to show you what the other teams are currently doing in major... Love this. I want to show you what the other teams are doing right now around... How good is this young wonder kid? I love the fact the save is already done. Yeah, I'm still on the hunt for wonder kids here. I want to show you what's going on around the world and what other major European sides are doing. But the last thing I'll do for you is show you the top players in world football based on market valuation alone, as we'll scroll down together. And there's Ruben Neves. There's Ruben Neves. I mentioned it. As good as this guy is, as elite as this guy is, better without him. better without him, and the silverware proved that, no doubt about it. But these are the top players in world football. It's not working. These are the... Oh, God, what we've done. Can I scroll down very gently? There we go. These are the top players in world football based on market valuation alone. Soon you'll see the new gen / regen Calvo. Oh, there's the other guy, that ex-Bayer Leverkusen player as well. He's absolutely brilliant. I'm waiting for Calvo, that young Portuguese forward. There's the Romanian, by the way, that we missed out on a couple of years ago. He is getting used by PSG as well. We were so close to bringing him to Molineux. Would we have won another trophy with this guy on the left-hand side in place of Traore or Jota? I would say yes. I would say yes. And a few more for you as we go down the list as well. And there's that Portuguese forward who looks incredible. Yep, Ronaldo might retire, but Portugal are definitely in safe hands. But as for the top earners in world football, as we know, Neymar currently earns the most, same as last year, of course, £850,000 per week. Griezmann next, still at Barcelona, then Mbappe. Messi, of course, is still in the game. Haaland, Dani Olmo, David De Gea, look at that one, 350 grand a week. De Ligt, Courtois, Lewandowski, Valverde, Kimpembe, Lucas Hernandez, Fati, Sane, Dybala, João Felix, all in the 300 grand a week club plus. And I'm just going to do one final thing for you guys to see. There's just so much depth to FM. It's really, really hard to show you as much as I want to, because there's just so many things to showcase, you know. But otherwise, I could literally spend like 4 hours going through the save if anyone was that interested. But as for the top teenagers in world football, as we know, Dragos is the best in world football right now, no surprises. Then there's this young Japanese striker currently on loan from PSG. They snap up all the wonder kids in the game, man. Then there's this young lad, Quintia, who for some reason my scout recommended to me, as if they'd ever want to come and play for us right now at Barcelona. And then there's this young German who looks very good indeed. And then there's a young Italian who's still at Sassuolo. Oh, he looks interesting. I know the save is done, but it's still nice to have a browse, you know. We've got an abundance of strikers, to be fair, but he would definitely slot into my team, no doubt. So yeah, those are the top teenagers in world football right now based on market. I'm going down on wage. I'm not going down on valuation. I'm going down on wage. Oh, I've missed out so many players. Sorry about that. But this is a lad from Sociedad that I could have activated a release clause for. Decided not to do it in the end. I slightly regret that. The young German midfielder we saw at Leverkusen in the final. This is Andres Diaz. I've seen this guy at Porto before who I really wanted. He looks great. There's a young Argentine. Juventus right now. Oh, this guy came from Nottingham Forest. I could have signed this guy, and Lord knows I regret it. There was a summer where I had this guy on my shortlist, and there were 2 other clubs. It was West Ham, I think it was Leeds that wanted him as well. In the end, he went to West Ham. Major regret not signing him from last season. Had a great breakout year in League One. Should have pulled the trigger and spent a very low amount of money. We had plenty of cash to spend, just decided not to do it because I thought, yeah, we got this guy, we've got Silva, him and they're still bangs him in. Should have done it, regret that one now. But even so, these are the best young players, best teenagers, I should say, in world football right now. So it's proof that they're around, but it takes, I always say it takes about 3 or 4 years before they start to develop into worthwhile signings for you. And also sort of like they become on the map, if you will. Sometimes you just won't see them for the first couple of years. But that's that. I can't think of anything else I wanted to show you. I'm sure as soon as I stop recording, I'll think of about 5 things I wanted to show you. But that is that. The FM21 reboot is done. And I want to say thank you so much for all supporting the series, guys. 5 seasons with Wolves. Without question, my most frustrating FM save ever. There is no doubt about that. The anger and the rage I felt, mostly induced by VAR, was apparent in the majority of my episodes. But I can't say thank you enough for watching it. You know, following on from the Fulham save, I was gutted how it ended. I really was. I take full responsibility for not putting the save in the cloud like a moron. However, to follow on with this Wolves project, it really was such a great team. There were so many interesting characters as part of the save. Nice little dilemmas developing year after year. And just in general, despite the frustration, despite the difficulty and challenge and the pressure which I didn't handle very well, I had a lot of fun with the save, even though it was frustrating. I really, really enjoyed it. So I want to say thank you for watching the episode and the series as a whole. It certainly has been an interesting one, and I want to say thank you very much indeed. Tomorrow I'm going to put out a special video for you guys, which is my plans for FIFA 2022, and I'll briefly discuss my plans for FM22 in there. They'll be quite brief, not elaborate, but yeah, I'll briefly discuss what's going to happen there as well. Thanks so much for watching though, guys. Really appreciate your support throughout the course of the save. Much love to you all. FM21 is in the books, and I'll see you for the beginning of FM22 at some point in the new year. Much love, guys, and I'll see you for another video very soon.